What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Oly Kanoli Show. Today we've got Ramandeep Singh, and Ramandeep is someone who I've always known has loved the game of footy, loved soccer. So again, please welcome Ramandeep.
Thanks for having me. I know it took a while for us to do this.
No, of course.
It took like 2-3 weeks. We planned this out.
Yeah.
We planned this out for 3 weeks, but it slowly took time. But I appreciate you for having me here.
No, of course, bro.
Talk some footy, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Oh, it's crazy because nowadays, like, I remember like 2 weeks ago, we wanted to talk about like racism in football.
Yeah.
And it was so ironic that the other day, like with the whole Vinicius Jr. thing happened.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Bro, and I was like,
that was literally like 2 days ago.
Yeah, bro.
Wow,
and it was wild because like everyone's like, oh, it's just like La Liga's like that and stuff. But it's like, dude, that's all of even Italy's like that a lot of the times. There's different leagues that like
100%.
have racism, and honestly, racism happens all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's like that goes back to that quote from Ozil when he was like, oh, like Germany, like I'm German when we win, but I'm Turkish when we lose.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of goes off that. So I kind of want to just go off that and just allow yourself to introduce yourself a little bit, like let people know who you support, what you.
Of course, Ali, my boy. I've known you for I don't even know how long at this point.
Yeah.
And I think you're one of the only few people I know that maybe really watch like soccer besides a couple other. We have some mutual friends too that are like that, but I know you're one of the few that I know. And I'm an Arsenal supporter, as you see the badge.
Off the Gunners.
Yeah, well, we blew the league this year, but we made it second place. I didn't even know. If you asked me last year, like, and you told me that it'll be Man City and Arsenal competing for the league, I'd be like, no, the hell we're not. But like, I don't know what happened. We were just really good this year. Obviously, we didn't have the experience, so we kind of, choked towards the end a little bit. But
it fizzled. It definitely fizzled by the end.
I was like, wow. This whole year, I was super surprised. I think we're going to be really good next year. And then, pretty happy.
Yeah, also like the thing with Arsenal has a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
Like think about it. How was like I saw there was like a statistic. It was like the average age of the Arsenal squad was like one of the youngest in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that's sick. You know what I mean? It's like to be doing that well with such a young squad. The reason why they kind of started choking by the end is because they didn't have that experience.
They don't have experience, man.
They don't got that like it factor at that point.
Yeah.
They're so young. But this loss will be that experience for them, which is why, as again a Liverpool supporter, I gotta support Mo Salah. So he, one of the things I noticed was that once they got those losses, they felt the sting of like that defeat. It happens, right? They're gonna come back and be like, oh, if we're in this position again, we know how to hunt.
Yeah.
Like we became the hunted, so now we could be the hunters.
Yeah,
where it's
exactly.
like do well in the league, and that's kind of like the sweet thing. I remember seeing like a pundit was like, oh, you'll think you're above Man City, and then they'll be 10 points clear by the end.
Yeah,
and it's
man.
exactly what happened.
That's just how they are, bro. They're just a really good team. Like City's just good, and it's crazy because when we were like end of December, like after the World Cup, we were still top of the League, and then like January, February, we were still top of the league, and then like a lot of Arsenal fans were like, oh yeah, we're definitely winning the league now. But there were some few, like even me, I was like, yeah, I really want to win the league, but that City team is so good. The fact that they came back and won, they won the Premier League. They won it last week. They sealed the W, but like that's, and we're gonna have to live with that team, bro, for a very long time. Like Haaland,
he's
Foden,
young,
bro. Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, they're kind of getting a little older and stuff,
but they're
like,
still class.
They're so good.
Even
though.
De Bruyne, like, dude, he can put up world-class performances
him too.
here and there.
He's probably, to me, he's their best player. Even though Haaland scores all the goals, but he's their best
He's
player.
like the engine of the team that just gets things done. Like,
they have money, bro. They can do whatever they want.
16 assists too. Yeah. Like he's giving dimes. And I remember seeing someone was like, "Oh, this is why Sterling had to leave because he wasn't like finishing a lot of De Bruyne's dimes.
Yeah,
he was giving him goals on a plate, and it's like you have to convert these chances, and those are the chances that haunt you later down the league."
Yeah, and another thing is like, now that I think of it, like people are, which to me is weird because I always rated Mahrez even when he was with Leicester.
Yeah, no, Mahrez
but I think
is nice.
He's probably the most skilled player to me in the Premier League.
His first touch is like
bro,
butter. Like
I watched some of his games and I'm just like, bro, how because he'll start some games, but then he won't start some games because Pep is such a different like manager. Like he plays different formation. Sometimes no wingers play.
He also is an overthinker. Like everyone knows Pep to be like an overthinker.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to move him here, move here, move here.
And I think that's what caused him to lose the Champions League against Chelsea when he didn't start Fernandinho.
Oh, that was...
Bro,
what are you doing?
Bro, that was one of the worst teams to ever win a Champions League I've ever seen in my life. That team...
And it was like a what? It was like a one... Havertz
scored
like Havertz
scored...
Goal,
he scored a goal. Like, it was a... No offense, but I mean, a goal was a goal. It was such a crappy goal.
Yeah.
The fact that they...
It was scrappy. Like, it was scrappy
goal. And
like
I'm just like, yo, bro, like... like one of our mutual friends, Massimo, if you know who Massimo is, like he's a huge Chelsea fan, and like he was just like, how the hell did we win the Champions League? I'm like, bro, I don't even know. Like because they were awful in the league that year. They were like how they were now. That's how they were that year. They won.
They have been kind of shaky over the last couple years. Chelsea have been shaky.
That too, but they 600 mil.
Yeah,
they one season, bro.
That's why
is insane.
It's like how PSG does it, you know. It's like you're spending all this money, like all these big clubs. Sometimes they spend all this money, but you can have all the money in the world, but you're not building a team. Yeah. I will always say this: the one like oil money club who really has done it recently that I have so much respect for is Newcastle. Yeah, dude, they did not spend that much money. Like I looked at their books and I was looking at like the numbers and everything. I was like, dude, they didn't spend that much money. Yeah. Like Trippier, who is their captain now, came from Atletico Madrid, and I think he's making less money now than he was at Atletico Madrid, but he wanted to be closer to family. Yeah. They got Sven Botman. Like they picked up some sick signings. Like Isaac, bro.
Isaac,
dude, he's nice.
He's Swedish.
And the thing is, like, he was probably the most expensive with Bruno Jimenez, right? Mm-hmm. And Almiron was like regen. Like he basically like came up out of nowhere. Willock, like
he's from Arsenal.
Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe is like amazing. Like he got that team and brought the best out of every one of those players.
And you know what? Like you can say, like I hate the fact that other big clubs kind of like downplaying them and saying like, oil money. I'm like, bro.
All these rich people.
What are you talking about, bro? Like, literally, at one point, bro, almost every big club and decently big club is going to be owned by whether it's like Saudi Arabian
oil or Russian oil or rich oligarchs who own things.
Or people from like billionaires from America, like Stan Kroenke, he owns Arsenal.
Or and Fenway Sports Groups owns Liverpool.
And like that's how it's going to be, bro. Money talks, bro. You think, like, what are you going to say?
Like an average Joe is going to own the club down the street?
Bro. No. Like, even Barcelona. Like, Barcelona is known to be the club of the people. Like, you know, that's what their quota is. But even then, like, they still have sponsors. Like, Spotify is their biggest sponsor.
They sold all those rights to their advertising rights.
And they did good. They just won La Liga. Yeah, like, they're a good, really good
Bringing Xavi back was incredible.
Yeah,
that was
bro.
A great decision.
He's such a good... He's got baby Guardiola. Him and Arteta, they have a lot of that Guardiola in them. Mm-hmm. I like that. I mean, Arteta was right under Guardiola for a little bit too.
Yeah, he learned a little bit of the game. And what I've noticed in the league recently that City did that was incredible was putting Stones as like that, like a second six, slotting him in instead of like a center back in attack or in possession. And dude, like it changed the game. And Xavi was doing it too. Yeah, Xavi was doing it too. It's like center backs now can play well with their feet.
But look I mean,
you know, it's like not like they're just dunderheads who just Brexit means Brexit and clear the ball. No, a lot of times, a lot of those center backs can play a lot of positions. You know, they can have a great touch on the ball. They can finish. They can shoot. They can move the ball quickly. They're pros, and like the game only gets harder and better. So having center backs who can keep the ball and possess. Spreads the field. That means your backs can become so high up, and that's what Liverpool did so well when Van Dijk was at his peak, dude. Trent was able to bomb forward, and Robert's able to bomb forward because Van Dijk can go 1v2 and win every time.
You know who else does that a lot? Rudiger and Araujo.
Yeah, bro. I think they're both incredible.
But I think Araujo, from what I was hearing, like, because I follow like so many like football pages on Twitter, and like they were talking about him being like the next captain because everybody left. Busquets left. Yeah. Jordi Alba just left.
I'd give it to him.
Yeah, but he deserves it. He's so good. He came out of nowhere. He did come from their academy, but that's the thing with Barcelona. They just come out of nowhere. Like Pedri, Gavi. I mean, Pedri they bought from Jeez, I don't remember the team.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's other club. Yeah,
they're from one of the islands in Spain. They're called the Canary Islands, and Las Palmas. Is that what it's called?
Maybe something like that. It's so funny. I know the color of the kit he wore. Like I know
yellow.
Like, there's a yellow one. There's also like a pink and white. One that he wore, yeah.
And so he came from there, but he came when he was like 17, bro. They bought him when he was like a baby. They just know
the talent.
And Gavi came from the academy. Araujo, I'm almost positive, came from the academy.
Even who's that left back? Balde?
Academy.
Right?
He just booted Fati, academy.
Like these kids are ballers. Like these kids are all nice.
They have another this one kid, he's like 16, 17.
The Moroccan kid,
bro. He just scored to advance. He's the U17 World Cup finals on right now, and he just scored to help Spain advance.
Dude, he's a bucket too. And when I saw his first when he first came in, he almost scored and assisted right away.
He's like 16 when he started. 16, I think he's 16. It's just crazy, man. They have so much talent.
And it kind of shows too, like La Masia, like that's what it is.
That's the greatest player of all time came from La Masia,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Speaking of that, so
Yeah.
one of the things we definitely could talk about is the GOAT debate, right? So me personally, right, again, as a footballer, like I personally played so many hours. I've watched so many players. Some of my favorite players include like Zinedine Zidane, like Ozil, like
Ozil's my guy.
De Bruyne. Like those are I love these crafty midfielders
Yeah.
for the technical ability, right? And Zidane is probably my all-out favorite player. Like when I was younger and like first
Algerian.
started learning how to play, that's how I wanted. I wanted to be him. Like, I
his
wanted to
prime was
play like
crazy.
how he played. Ozil, I was like, he almost does things that I couldn't even achieve if I tried.
His prime was.
But Zidane, I saw things that like it looked so easy, but he made it look easy.
Yeah.
But it was just classy. And one of the things I wanted to like talk about here was that as a footballer, right,
Yeah.
watching Messi is like the greatest dribbler,
Yeah.
player. Like the system that Barcelona gave
Yeah.
him, incredible, perfect.
Yeah.
Like it was it. 91 goals in a calendar year, absurd. No one's ever doing that again.
2012, yeah.
No one's ever doing.
2012.
Haaland has what, like 50 some goals right now,
And you know what's funny?
and he has getting fed, and he's actually getting fed
yeah.
constant tap-ins,
Yeah,
right?
but you that too, and you gotta think about Messi was
Messi
just
dribbling, bro. This man was
he
dribbling,
he had the
scoring.
most assists that year too. Like, and I was joking around. One of my friends, he's a huge Ronaldo fan, and when he went to El Nassr, he was joking around. He's like, "Yo, he's gonna." I was joking around with him too, but I was like, this might actually happen. I thought he was gonna break that because that. No offense to like the Saudi Arabian league, but it's not really.
It's not the same
it's
quality.
It's not
yeah,
the same. It's a good league. It's a cool league.
it's not a top
It's
five.
not a
league.
top 5 league.
No, no.
So I was like, he can easily go there and score 50 goals, but he's struggling a little bit to score. But that's not his fault. But I'm just saying, like,
You need a team.
even
you need
even then,
teammates
it's
and stuff.
difficult.
Yeah.
The fact that I witnessed him score 91 goals
Absurd.
in a year is just insane.
Him and
bro.
Ronaldo put the bar so high
Yeah, for a lot of
that
players.
now, like, dude,
Ronaldo-
Ronaldo scored like what 17 some goals in a season too. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's
That
absurd.
was a couple years after that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like that's insane. And like, the thing is with Ronaldo too, like I always defend Ronaldo in one regard is that he
Yeah.
really did start his career as like a right mid, like an authentic right mid.
Yeah.
You know, like Messi always played like center forward, false nine, like high up or right wing. And Messi does drop back a lot in games
Yeah.
where he controls a lot of the game. But again, it's set up for him to get the ball back.
It's
It's those little bursts of
to
speed.
me, it's just that's true though. But the fact that he scored 91 goals as a
absurd.
center fielder, though.
Yeah, no, it's
Ronaldo's
absurd.
a striker. Ronaldo's
Yeah.
a forward. You can't even consider Ronaldo's not going back and doing what Messi's doing, bro. Like no one's doing that.
I will say Ronaldo's defensive work rate is better than
Well,
Messi's.
yeah, he's also physically way
Physically
better
better.
than Messi too. He's also taller and can do things.
I
than
think
Messi.
like it sounds crazy, but like if I had to say like as a unbiased opinion, like who the
Yeah.
greatest football player of all time, and I actually had to rank them, right?
yeah,
Messi's number one.
yeah.
He is the best footballer on the planet.
Yeah.
Like he just is.
He
No one
is.
will be better
He's the
than him.
GOAT, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
But if I had to pick someone for my team, I'd pick Ronaldo. Just personally, you know,
Yeah.
because like
Well-
I just find him so like
A lot of people
he
do.
He can go on
'Cause
any
he has that
team.
aura
He can
about
go on
him.
any and he
Yeah.
can go on any team and succeed.
Yeah.
Messi, unfortunately, like at PSG, when they weren't really didn't fit his mold.
But there's the thing though. PSG they really have not fit anyone's mold. They've had Neymar
Yeah.
for how long?
Neymar's first season at PSG though was incredible.
but they lost the Champions League final with Neymar and Mbappe.
yeah.
And like you can't really 100%. And they also got Messi while he was kind of old and a little. He was
Yeah,
getting towards
like,
that washed up part.
Especially after he won the World Cup,
Same
bro, he
thing
didn't
with-
care, bro.
Same thing
He-
with Ronaldo. When Ronaldo went to United, he was washed, bro. Like you can say.
I
when
don't
he-
know. See, that's
you
the
can
argument
say
I'll
that
make.
though. But here's the thing though.
Dude, he was the number one player, bro.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
scored, like, 17 goals
so is
in the
Messi.
Prem.
Messi's still the number one
In
player
the
for
Prem,
PSG. Though,
he scored
though.
17 goals in the Prem.
But here's the
bro.
thing. Here's the thing, though. You think Messi wouldn't be able to do that in the Prem?
I think, like, me
Yeah.
personally, I think Messi
Yeah.
would. But would Messi
We
be able to
over-
do that on
overrate-
that United team? I don't think so.
I think he can. I think he can because here's the thing though.
That United team
but
was
but they're
trash.
feeding him though. They're feeding Ronaldo. You got to think about if you're playing with a person like Ronaldo.
Ronaldo
and-
was also feeding them, dude. He was giving them
but
dimes.
He's gonna be the main guy. They're gonna be like,
Facts.
all right,
No,
we're
I
gonna
agree.
give him the ball. We're gonna give him the ball. Even like he scored a hat trick against Norwich. But then you gotta think about it like, yeah, but they're feeding him. They're gonna feed. That's like
And
it's
he's
like the Haaland situation.
And he's
They're
also
feeding him.
he's also putting himself in those positions.
Yeah.
And same thing with Haaland. Like, dude,
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, Haaland scores tap-ins. I'm like, dude, low key. Like, again,
No,
I was a
it's not
Salah fan.
tap-ins.
I didn't want him to finish. I didn't want him to beat Salah's record, right?
Yeah.
But it was so funny. I was reading like comments one day on Instagram,
Bro, he's not human.
and they were like, dude, but Salah's 34 goals was way more impressive than Haaland's. And it's like, honestly, yeah, like Salah was scoring these goals from the wing position, and he was cutting in, like scoring these cheeky goals. Like Haaland obviously was like an excellent poacher, and again. That's his game. That's why they got him a true number 9.
Yeah.
But something with City, just before I forget about it, it makes me so mad that they have Alvarez on the bench, and I think he would
Yeah.
start any team number 9.
I think Alvarez,
He's incredible.
Even in the World Cup, like remember that one really nice assist Messi had against Croatia. Remember?
Where it was the one where he broke Guardiola's ankles.
Yeah, but you gotta see Alvarez's run, bro. Like
Oh,
he's
bro,
so.
I thought he was like, I don't know how old he is or like
he's
young
like
player of the
21
tournament or
maybe,
not,
20.
but I thought he would have gotten young player of the
I
tournament.
thought he was gonna get that too.
I
I'm
didn't
surprised
think-
they gave it to Enzo.
I didn't rate. See, all right,
Yeah.
this might be unpopular, but I don't rate Enzo Fernandez that well.
I think he's good. Like I'm not a huge Enzo Fernandez like fanatic, but I think he's a really good player.
like I don't rate him that highly
Yeah.
for like how much Chelsea bought him for, and like how
Oh, boy.
everyone expected him to
They
do
were
all these
buying
things.
Everyone.
Like he's good. I think he's a solid player, but I don't think he's like all.
I think
that.
he'll be good. I
You know
think
what
he'll be
I
good. I hope he's good because he had a really good World Cup. I
Mhm.
mean, his McAllister. I think McAllister should have been the one that should have got a lot of that. He's so
incredible.
it's so crazy, bro. He plays like Messi. He looks like Messi,
Mhm.
and like, it's just insane, bro. He looks like him
think
too.
There's a lot of rumors he might go to Liverpool.
I think he is going to Liverpool. That's good though.
That'd be perfect.
Him
for
and
his system.
Thiago. Is Thiago leaving?
Dude, I don't know. Thiago been made of
I mean,
glass.
you guys kind of got Thiago when he was little.
older. He's like,
Yeah.
I think Thiago could still put on a world class performance. He's just like tired, you know, like his body just isn't able to go as hard,
Yeah.
you know. And it's fair play, you know. He's not going to be like the peak best of the best, but we need to start filling in these midfield roles. Like Henderson's not cutting it for anymore.
Yeah, he's
Like
leaving. Mena
again,
left. Yeah.
captain, love him as a leader,
Yeah.
great person, right? But we need to have, if that's our starting lineup next year, we were talking about some Jude Bellingham. Now we're talking about
Oh, he's supposed to go to Real. See, I
Madrid stacked.
love Jude Bellingham, but I mean it's a rumor. We can say it.
Yeah,
but
he can go somewhere else
go
on the
somewhere
next day, yeah.
But it's just like, yeah, Jude Bellingham's a really good player, but I'm always scared about situations like that, especially because like look at Jadon Sancho. He was so hyped up.
so much hype.
He
on
scored
Sancho.
today actually.
Yeah.
But it's just like he never lived up to the hype. Martial, remember when Martial came to the league?
Dude, the hype was nutty.
Wait, he came from Monaco in the
Mhm.
French league, and he scored his first game was against you guys,
Mhm.
Liverpool too.
Yeah.
That's who it was. I remember. I'll never
It was
forget
a
that.
bucket. It was
such a
sick
good goal.
like
Ever since that moment, bro.
just
The fact that they must really like that dude as a person because he's been on that team for a long time, and I'm sorry, but he's an underperformer for what
Yeah.
he was lived up to, and like maybe it's not his fault, maybe just like, sometimes you just don't live up to the hype, but he's one of those dudes where he fit that like that category of oh shit, like he might choke, and he really did. That's why I'm always afraid, like even as an Arsenal
some players have to have that it factor, you know,
Yeah.
that dog in them. Like no matter where I go, I'll ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing with
I think Jude Bellingham has that.
Yeah,
I think Jude Bellingham has
that's
that
the
it
only.
factor.
That's the thing though. Like, it's like I will love him. Of course, I love him to go to Arsenal because Partey's might
Yeah.
be leaving next season, which
Dude,
kind of sucks.
Honestly, Jude Bellingham and Arsenal would be fire.
Bro, him and
That'd be a-
Odegaard would be
that'd
so
dude,
fire.
that would actually. I actually did not think about that.
Yeah.
That would be a sick.
But that's the
midfield.
thing, and then the biggest
Who would
fear
you
is
put in the
like
six though? Because theoretically,
Xhaka and Partey are leaving.
Yeah, because Xhaka's going to Bayer Leverkusen with Javi Alonso.
Dude from Brighton, Casio, Mohamed
Caicedo.
Casio. That's who we're
Caicedo.
like. No, we're lifting Declan Rice.
Declan. I think Declan's solid.
Yeah,
he's a
I think
tank.
Declan as a CDM just because he's so fat. He's such a
Athletic. He's fit.
bro.
He knows
but
how to move the ball
him
quick.
at the six. How Busquets play. And I'm not saying he's good as Busquets. There's a
Yeah.
lot of players that are probably will never be as good as prime Busquets. But I'm
Yeah.
saying like Declan Rice at the number 6 role for us.
And it fits for Arsenal's
Yeah.
like style of play too, like to have someone like that. Because then, like we said, like how nowadays, like we'll have Zinchenko sit and sit at like inside six
he's
role.
so good too.
Zinchenko is butter. I saw a video of like basically them like basically showing like technical, and it's like when you're juggling a ball, right? You're running with the ball, like it's like juggle, run, and it's like they were doing like a race from like like the goal line to like half field or whatever, and like all you see is everyone's like juggling and moving, like kind of like like
Yeah.
and then the camera pans to the person in first, like flies by the camera, and it's Zinchenko like literally punting it forward to himself. And, it was,
Yeah.
and I remember seeing like a Man City article. Someone was like, "Dude, whose touch is like the one of the best on the team?" Like,
Yeah,
dude, Zinchenko.
he's so good.
Dude, his
and-
touch is incredible.
And he's one of the main reasons why we made it this far.
Yeah.
Why we competed for the league.
He
why
got a
we're
lot of
second in
hate at the end because he did like got megged by Tran, and then like that
Who
goal.
cares,
I'm like, dude,
bruh?
like everyone's kind of like on him, and I'm like, dude,
we struggled as a team in general. Like I'm not gonna blame anything.
they didn't have the ice. They didn't have the ice.
Yeah,
in their
they're
veins.
young.
And
They
that's
don't have ice
everyone.
yet, yeah.
Saka low-key fizzled at
Yeah,
the
he
end.
fizzled at the
Martinelli
end.
kind of fizzled.
Yeah,
Jesus fizzled. And the thing is, Jesus also come back from injury.
Big injury too.
I think Nketiah was incredible. I thought he
See,
was really good.
here's
for
the thing
you
about
guys.
Nketiah, because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I watch.
You watch
majority of
every
the games.
game, yeah.
He had that really good game against United where he
Mhm.
scored the 2 goals. He had that really good header goal.
That brace, yeah, that
and
was a
then
sick
he had
brace.
the game winner. But he kind of struggled after that a little bit, bro. And then people like I mean I'm on Twitter all the time, like looking up.
You see the expectations that they have to have.
So
this,
then
like,
there's this one kid that plays in the French league. He's a loanee from Arsenal. He just signed for America.
I saw that he declared his citizenship for American.
And
He's going to be good, honestly. America needed him at number 9.
Competing against Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, Lacazette, Sanchez in the French league for goal scoring and stuff. He's good. I think he can come back and compete against those two as well. You know what I mean? I think we'd be stupid to not give that kid a chance.
Arsenal's letting go of like 10 plus players though this summer. I saw a stat saying 14. Like 14 players are going to get offloaded.
Well, there's so much dead weight. Like Rob Holt. You know what really hurt us? The games before City.
Yeah, was Gabriel getting hurt, right? Or
Saliba
getting hurt.
So the games before City, we drew every single game. And those were like, if that was the Arsenal beginning of the season, we would have washed all those teams.
Yeah, bro. You guys are drawing Southampton, and you guys
West
drew
Ham or Aston Villa, I forget.
It was
that was
not
a lot
great
because,
games.
Like Holding was struggling. Like Saliba being out, like, I don't want to play victim and make excuses and shit, but like that kind of
it was lot. Dude. That was a cog. That's a cog of your team.
Best young defender when he's fully healthy.
And his ball. Like we were saying that when a center back can keep the ball.
Yeah.
I think the French team could be sick. Dude.
Bro,
Konate and Saliba. I think Konate is incredible.
Yeah, Konate, Saliba, Theo Hernandez. I don't know who the hell their right back is. Maybe his brother, Theo's brother. I don't know. Both of them play.
They have Koundé.
Koundé. Oh my! How good is Koundé, bro? He plays right back, center back, right back, center back. Like Xavi has him doing everything.
Koundé, I saw this article saying like he might have wanted to leave because he doesn't.
Hey, I'm just dude. Bro, I hate. I don't see. That's why I don't listen to any of those rumors because a lot of those Twitter pages
until Fabrizio says here we go.
Fabrizio is like the number one source. Like he's the number one FBI agent for football.
And he sees it all too. And like it's going back to kind of like when we were talking about like when players get underrated or overrated, all these things, right? And something again as a Liverpool fan, as an Egyptian person, obviously I'm a Mo Salah fan, right? And this year, like Liverpool, I watched almost every game. There were so many games I'm like, this is trash. Like no like passion, no effort in the midfield. It looked lackluster defensively. Van Dijk had kind of a bad start to his year, and like you can tell he's a little afraid. Like his knee sometimes bothers him, and you could tell. Like, and that's okay. You know, you don't expect someone to come back from injury instantly right away, 100%. And something that I noticed was the media bias that the English media have, right?
They're really biased.
So to start, they were on Ronaldo's head top, dude. All fall on his head. I'm like, let this man breathe.
And you know what I think Ronaldo did what he shouldn't have done? He should have never did that interview with Piers. That made him look like a crybaby. If I was him, I would have been like, cool, you don't want me? Let me just leave.
The thing is I will always say this. The reason why I liked it was when he spoke on certain things, it made a certain thing like he loved the club more than he loved himself.
Yeah, because that's where he made his name,
like,
bro.
He loves the club. But Sir Alex Ferguson, he respects them.
But look at it now, though. Like he's gone, they're still a really good team.
I mean, they also got Casemiro. Bro, Casemiro is the only
but that's what I'm saying though. Like
they're succeeding.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he left, and they're still a good team. But like they didn't have that when he was there.
They gave
that's
him
what I'm saying,
bro. Weghorst.
But no, Weghorst came this year.
But he came as Ronaldo's replacement.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dude, come on, bro.
And then that's one thing too. I'm like,
bad.
in my opinion, I'm just like, that's cool. Like seeing Ronaldo go back, but it's just like, why wouldn't you not help him somewhat? You know.
I think he was okay with being on the bench, but I think he wasn't okay with the disrespect he got from the manager.
Because he didn't get along with Ten Hag, right?
Yeah, and I think that was where it was. Like Ten Hag, like he said, like the board like didn't believe him when his daughter was sick. Like, dude, he lost a kid over the summer. Like, come on, bro. That's hard. Like,
and that's the same thing when we were talking about the Messi situation going to PSG. He didn't want to leave Barcelona.
Yeah, he was heartbroken. He was heartbroken.
Because whoever the president was before the one now, he was. Remember when we bought Coutinho? I mean, not we. I'm not a Barcelona fan, but when they bought Coutinho from you guys, what was it, 150 mil? Then they spent crap ton of money on so many players. They just didn't have money.
That Coutinho sale bought us Alisson and
that Coutinho sale won you the Champions League, and like, and that's what I'm saying. That kind of like, I think that was the only. I don't think Messi would have ever left Barcelona. He was so comfortable that he didn't need to, bro.
Why leave, bro?
Why leave?
He's a legend.
Won
in the city.
Everything. Like he doesn't need to leave.
And Messi is like, it's so funny because everyone's always like, oh, like autistic Messi or whatever. Yeah. Like, no team and stuff. But the thing is, like, he's like. not like it's like he's someone who's like obviously famous, but he
different person,
himself
though.
doesn't really care about the fame.
Yeah.
He's like very like, I saw a stat of like, oh, what did like these guys order for food? And everyone's like ordering this and this and this.
Yeah.
And like Messi was just so simplest order. He's like cheese pizza and a Pepsi. It's like, that's all I want.
You know, they cut that out of his diet after
Yeah.
the 2015 year when they went or the year before the 2014 was the last year he had that cheese pizza Pepsi diet, because obviously like after the games you can eat whatever you want, because that's after the game, like, you know, you just burn like thousands of calories.
Yeah,
so,
but they're hauling.
yeah, so like players eat whatever, like burgers, cheese pizza, and Pepsi. I think they cut that out of his diet because it was affecting him a little bit gameplay wise and stuff. But that's one thing I actually was talking to Nav about. We were talking about how like famous like teams and stuff all around the world, like NFL, etc. They have like the best
Dietitian, bro, everything.
doctors. That's one reason why like
masseuses, they have all the red light therapies, they have
Yo,
this,
and
the
it's just
cupping,
crazy.
everything.
And I think that's one reason why like I think that helps a lot, like with Messi and Ronaldo, why they're so good, is I think they followed such a good strict diet. Like do you know how like strict Ronaldo's diet is? I watched this one video, bro, about him, and he was with his son, like his oldest son, and his son was talking about like drinking Coke and stuff, and like it's like banned in his house, like no Coke, just water and stuff. Like, but that's what made him. Diet is so important, bro. That's why these athletes are so fucking. You know what I mean? LeBron too.
And it's like also helps like your mental health, your body, your bio energy, you know, like who you are as an individual. Like they say like your cells like replicate obviously over time. It's like you can be a whole new body, a whole new person in like a certain amount of time. It's like a certain amount of months, this part of your organ will be a completely brand new organ. This part, you know what I mean? So it's like over time you'll have these brand new firing all cylinder organs.
And what's so impressive is like during Ramadan, so players like even here in the NFL, in the NBA, like Kyrie last year when he was fasting during the playoffs. I'm trying to think of somebody. Oshiman? Is Oshiman Muslim?
Yeah, I think maybe he is.
Yeah, I remember seeing. Yeah, he is. He's Muslim, I think.
A lot of Nigerians are. That's why like Nigerians like half and half.
Then you know like, but a lot of these players, like a lot of these fans, they don't understand that. Like they're like, oh, what do you mean he has a break to go eat real quick? I'm like
bro,
yeah, bro, like it's part of his religion. Like it's, like he can do that.
And the thing is, they be balling too. Like that's the best thing.
Yeah.
And going off like that point is like I realized that like. The English media, the bias, all these things.
Oh,
like,
there's racism, bro. There's picking. It's called
choose.
selective racism, bro.
Yeah.
It's like they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They need the views. They want people to talk about it. And that's the same thing with what's happening in Spain right now. Vinicius, it's like, bro, you can't sit here and tell me that they weren't being racist to him,
bro. They were like,
bro,
monkey,
and then people were like, yo, why are you complaining, bro? Like, what do you mean? Why he's complaining?
I saw
like, why are you complaining?
One
bro?
of the things that I saw with it is like everyone's like, I saw a couple of like comments like, oh, Dani Alves got thrown a banana at him. You know what he did? He just ate it.
Okay,
or
but
Balotelli
who
did this,
cares?
this. I'm like, dude, like. How someone responds is different than how another person is going to respond. How Dani Alves responded was different. How Balotelli responded was different.
But them saying that is just proving the fact that racism is still there then.
Yeah.
So that you
deal with it. Like,
so you're proving that it's still there then.
You
like,
get
it's
paid
just
millions
so
of dollars,
dumb.
deal with it. It's like, dude, just because you get paid millions of dollars doesn't mean you're deserving someone
and then you
to
saying
demean
that
you.
is just saying, yeah, well, go ahead, be racist. Who cares? They get paid $1 million.
Yeah,
and
like
then that
what?
means they can, if you're saying that to people who get paid millions of dollars, how are you going to treat people, an average Joe on the street then?
Yeah. And that's
the
thing. It's like, I always like felt like that's so like just whack, right? And then the whole like French league thing, right, where they were like against like people fasting and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's what I could
like,
that's the league I was thinking of. I was like, yo, in my head I'm like, I know there was something
the French
out there.
are so like Islamophobic.
They're like banning
They're
hijabs and stuff. And then I remember who's Muslim in the league. There's another really famous Muslim parent in that French league, bro, and he talked about it. And he was like, yo, this is so messed up and stuff. Because, like, okay, I understand, like, not everybody, like, so there's some Muslims that don't fast, right? And it's okay. Like, it happens. Like, some Muslims don't fast. Like, there's a lot of people who are
like
certain religions.
practicing and not practicing.
And not, right.
There's
okay,
levels
though.
of deed. There's levels of, like,
yeah, like, people have, some people aren't mentally there to do that. It's okay. It doesn't mean they're bad.
It's a journey. Yeah, it's a journey.
But some people do want to do that. And some of them are professional athletes. And that, you know what I mean? Like, they have to do
it's
that.
It's a requirement, yeah. And I saw something the other day, and it was, like, saying, it was showing, like, the short list. Like the short list of like the player of the year for like the Premier League. And obviously we know Haaland's winning. He deserves it. You know, he was the player of the year.
Yeah.
And if Haaland didn't have the season he was having, I personally would have voted Odegaard.
Oh yeah,
I would have thought honestly he held the strings of that team. The Arsenal team, he had like over 10 goals, over 10 assists from midfield. pretty solid.
Pretty good,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I think he had 15 goals, like, and
He just scored.
plus 10
I
assists.
think our last game. I forget who we played. I think we lost our last game because
Yeah.
Nottingham.
Yeah.
I think we might have lost that.
The game before.
Probably the game before. Yeah. But-
And I was thinking about it, I was like, the way I know it's like, so there's like an English bias too. Is like how, for example, how expensive English players are versus other players. Like I saw this thing is like Ronaldinho would be this much, Ronaldinho Johnson would be this much. It's like, it was like a joke. And it was
well,
like,
that's true though, because look at Martinelli. Martinelli came from a third league Brazilian league. Vinicius came from such a.
For
I mean,
so
Neymar was
cheap.
obviously popular before.
Oh,
he came.
Santos, yeah, he
yeah,
was
but he
cooking.
came for a lot of money. But like, still, like that's just some of the few exceptions. But like Vinicius, I watched Vinicius play live in 2018.
really?
Yeah, when for his first ever year, he joined the year Ronaldo left to Juventus.
Mhm.
I went to MetLife to watch
Like the summer preseason
Real
games?
Madrid versus Roma, and I saw Vinicius play, and I'm not gonna lie, it took him a while to step up. That's 2018, bro. We're in 2023. Last year was a year where we were like, oh
He's
yeah,
snapping.
he's
Like, he's
snapped.
top- he's a
so
top
what? 18,
5
19,
winner.
21, 20. It took him about 4 years to get on that level. But just the fact that he was almost barely unknown. Like Martinelli, I remember when we signed Martinelli. Unai Emery was our manager when we signed Martinelli. Look how long it's not super long ago, but it's just like
It's
damn.
long enough that he needed to develop.
Yeah, and he's one of the few players from that Unai Emery era that actually stayed. Remember Gunduzi,
Yeah.
the curly-haired Algerian kid who's French. Like when he was on our team, when we signed him from I forget whatever French league, I was like, oh yeah, this kid's gonna be.
He's a
gonna be
bucket,
it.
yeah.
And he had like I think he was a good player, but he had a lot of like issues. He was also like an angry ass little kid, so he was getting yellow cards. He's never made I don't know, I guess it never worked out. But Martinelli, I think, was one of the few players from that Unai Emery era. He just lived up to his potential, bro. He's a baller, man. Him and
Even Saka, baller. Like
baller,
even
bro.
like when Jesus came in, he was hot, he was fit, cooking. Like he was doing so well. And I think like going back to the point, it's like how Salah wasn't in the shortlist. Like, dude, this man, if he scored against Southampton, he'll be the only player to do this twice, and only other player besides Henry to do this is 20 goals, 10 assists in 3 seasons in a row.
But it's just that's the bias.
Like,
that's the
dude,
bias.
this guy's cooking.
Yeah.
Like,
he had a pretty good year for
a bad Liverpool season. You know what I mean? So it's like he was carrying. Everyone's like, oh, without Mane, he's gonna be buns. Without Mane, this. Mane was Liverpool. It's like, dude, our problem wasn't our wingers, dude. Diaz got hurt, right?
Yeah.
That affected us. And Nunez got off to a rough start. Like, you know what I mean? He speaks no English. Like, man is like
his first year of the league.
First year of the league. Like, he's come from the Portuguese league, which is nowhere near as competitive as
the English league.
the English league, and he still scored over 10 goals.
Yeah, I mean,
still had assists. He still played a part of
and
the team.
people, I remember people were talking about that during the beginning of the year. They were like, bro, Holland already scored 5. I'm like, bro, Holland came from a league where they also speak English fluently, and he also is playing for Manchester City.
And he speaks English already. His dad played for City.
Yeah, and he's getting assisted by Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva,
and
Mahrez.
Pep Guardiola is
It's his coach.
You know, it's different. Like, Klopp can do work, but it's like, dude, you can't do work when the kid doesn't even speak English.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, you can tell he has the thing. You know, I think in his first season, he's theoretically doing better than Suarez did in his first season at Liverpool. And granted,
Darwin.
And granted, I don't think he's going to be as good as Suarez.
Oh yeah,
but
Suarez
I will say, if he starts getting fed, and he's in the right space at the right time,
McAllister. Yeah, and then you know what's crazy? The English media. This was an English media, but I was watching a podcast on TikTok, and there was this one really popular football podcast from the UK, and they had this one dude who had a really crazy opinion, and I don't know what he was thinking. He was like, he was like this because remember when City were losing a little bit, they had that little struggle. Remember in the middle of the season, and he was like, oh, this City team, they were wrong for buying Holland. They should have never bought Holland. Holland. He was like, yo, Holland when he's on the team, even though he's scoring, but they're not winning. And in my head, I'm like, bro, as an Arsenal fan, I'm like, watch, this team is gonna win the Premier League and the Champions League. And look, they won the Premier League and they're most likely gonna win the Champions League.
Bro, I don't know.
People just don't understand. Like this,
people have no football knowledge.
This is a generation. Like this Man City team, they're gonna rule England for a very long. They're gonna make this league a farmers' league. They already have. They just won. This is the third straight they won.
And the thing is, like, there's always like phases in the Premier League. So it's like, for example, United won.
Oh, bro, United like
was winning like every other league,
and that's
every other time.
That's another thing too. That like as a like I'm an Arsenal fan, obviously in the Premier League, and like that's the league I watch. But I will say this though, and this might be a really unbiased, like super unbiased thing to say, and might not be like the best opinion, but I don't think the Premier League is the hardest league in the world.
You don't think the Premier League's the
Nope.
hardest league? What
Nope.
league do you think is the hardest in the
I think the
world?
Spanish league's way better.
You think from top to bottom,
but
it's
not
harder?
top to bottom. I'm talking about in a sense where, like, just the fact that they can rule Europe. Like they beat United.
I see what you mean. Like for example, even Europa League, like Sevilla runs the Europa
but
League.
if like that's what I'm trying to say. If the English league is so difficult, why do they struggle against weaker? Because then if English league is a top league, then every league is bottom tier league. Why are they struggling against? Like why is United struggling against who they just lose to in the Europa League? Sevilla. Like they're not on paper. Sevilla's not better than that team.
No.
And like that's another thing too. Like when Barcelona when they were winning Champions Leagues, like when they won.
Ronaldo, Messi were just winning.
Yeah,
they were alternating Champions League wins.
And then I remember, bro, when I think it was the 2009. What's the one where Messi scored the header over Fernandinho?
That was early, right?
That was 09. Oh, that meant 2012, 09.
Yeah.
There was one. So Barcelona beat them twice in the Champions League final. And it was practically almost the same team. I know Messi beat Ronaldo once in the Champions League final. That's when he played for United. That was a year I think he possibly could have scored the goal with his
header, right?
Yeah,
the header like over.
And that's what I'm just saying. I'm like, yo, like that United team was nice.
Yeah,
that 2012 United team
They were
nice.
running through the Prem.
And this team, you can be like, oh yeah, well they got no
There's
competition.
just the most money in the Prem. That's the thing.
The most money English. They speak English, and that's what makes them so popular. They're just a popular league. I don't think they're the hardest league. I think the Spanish league you can easily
for example,
make.
you think Everton? If you put Everton in La Liga's bracket, like the table, where would they finish?
I mean, Everton, they're probably getting relegated. Have they getting relegated this year?
We'll see.
Yeah,
I think they'll
struggle. I think if Sevilla can beat United, Sevilla is gonna wax Everton. So like they're gonna struggle.
Wasn't Sevilla struggling this year in the Liga?
Yeah. I think Sevilla will wax Everton, bro. Like if they were to play. So I think teams like Everton, teams like I'm trying to think of another team.
Like Crystal Palace.
They're gonna get the run for their money because it's a whole different league. Fulham, they're gonna get the run for money, bro. Teams like Villarreal, Valencia, like this the Spanish league, it's just more technical, man. They're more technical, and I think the Premier League is more physical. And I think
I will say that too.
Yeah, I think they're way more physical.
And I think the reason why they'll do better in Europe is because when it comes down to like European competitions and you're technical, you don't really need to be as physical in these leagues. So when technical outclasses you,
that's how I should say it. To me, like I don't really think the Premier League's the best league in the world or the hardest league in the world.
Competitive wise, I think it's the most competitive. I think the Premier League's the most competitive.
Even then,
how
competitive?
But class wise, is it like? I think the most technical league is the Spanish league, but the best defensive league would have to be what league? You know what I mean? It's like the Italian league. They're known for defense.
Well, their national team is known for defense too.
You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like yeah, it's hard. But how hard is it if like cities won like 7 and like 5, 4, 5, 6 Premier Leagues?
I think right now the best league as a league right now, just me looking at all the leagues, I think the Italian league right now is on top.
Yeah, because I mean
the points from like 2nd to 5th to 6th to 7th is really close.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think is incredible.
Yeah.
The score lines of a lot of the games aren't like 7-0, 9-0.
Yeah.
There's no 9-0s.
Yeah.
Bournemouth got spanked by
like
Liverpool 9-0, 7-0 to United.
Yeah, so I was about to say, you guys just spanked 7-0
There's errors of like, there's like games where like you're like anomaly games, you know? You don't get a lot of those anomaly games.
And then that's another thing too. It's like
even in the Bundesliga, you don't really get those types of games. And granted, it's because maybe they don't have like the class high level players.
Yeah.
But finally, maybe if Dortmund win this weekend,
I hope they do.
They win in the league, and Bayern finally lost that dominance.
And that's another thing where they were like, "Oh well, you know, the English league is the hardest league in the world." Then I'm like, "Damn!" Like Holland's first year, bro, just broke every single record. Like, how hard is this league? And then, given that he's a generational player, like you're not gonna see. I think Mbappe would do the same thing. Mbappe played for Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, whatever. He's banging up 20.
Dude, if Mbappe played on the left for Liverpool,
like it's just that's what I mean, but.
Even Arsenal, dude, like that would be a crazy rotation.
Like, cause I'm not gonna lie to you, like
he can also play striker.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't mind Jesus being on the bench or come because Jesus can play on the wings as well. But like Jesus has that injury-prone situation, so like I wouldn't mind like, bro, Mbappe, Haaland, I mean fucking Martinelli, Mbappe, and Saka with Odegaard feeding him. Oh shit, like that's crazy.
Because then Odegaard would just be feeding people all day.
But
I think
man.
the best thing about like soccer, footy, like all of it is like it genuinely does bring people together.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so amazing to watch games, like the chants, like the camaraderie behind teams. Like even when something recently happened was when Firmino was obviously going to leave Liverpool, and like, "Si, senor, give the ball to Bobby,
Yeah,
he'll
he
score."
scored.
And dude, like hearing the aroma, the atmosphere, the stadium, like dude, the away fans were chanting his name, singing his song at Leicester at the King Power Stadium, and it's like to hear that respect. There's in the Prem. I'm like, you know what? Like the Prem has this thing where it's like the fans themselves
They're
are what
passionate.
make the league.
But
same with the German league. The fans themselves are making a lot of these leagues.
Do you know what league is really passionate about? Who to me has the best ultras? Like you know what that is? Like
the ultras,
Italian league.
Oh yeah,
They have the best ultras.
They also got the mafia.
Yeah,
those ultras are the mafia. Or
that's
something.
where a lot of them. I think a lot of racism is in that league as well. That's
Italian?
like,
Yeah, for sure, dude.
I think they have one of the most like racist fan bases and stuff. But
I think it's definitely
that's on education.
I think like La Liga and Serie A are probably the most racist leagues.
Yeah.
But it's again like it's weird because like Osimhen kind of is like obviously a black striker for them, right?
Yeah.
But he was the one leading the charge for them, right? So like they love him now, right?
Chevalier.
But say now, for example, he next year completely is terrible. They lose so much. They're gonna be so against him, you know. And it's like you gotta love me when I'm bad and when I'm good. Like you can't just love me one moment.
I wanted them to win. I wanted them to. They were my dark horse to win the Champions
League. Same.
And the fact that they blew it against Milan, like AC,
like
that AC Milan team is not like they should be spanking the AC Milan team, bro. And then Inter Milan came, beat the AC Milan team, and now
too. Like
and they were like, and then now I'm like, yo,
you think Inter Milan can do something in City?
I think if Lautaro and Lukaku like
combine well,
they can beat that City team. But it's just like. But then you got to look at the rest of the players. I'm just like, then you got to look at City's bench. Like, they got, Haaland not having a bad game? All right, bring Alvarez in. Whatchamacallit's not having a bad game? Bring Mahrez in.
The thing is, though, there's no second legs to the final.
Yeah.
It's just one game.
That's why.
I think that's where Pep overthinks.
Yeah.
Pep gets this thing where he can try something a little different here or there. But he just needs to stop thinking. Just let the same players play that you played.
And you know what? It's crazy. I would not be surprised if that City team went into that Champions League final. That too, but I would not be surprised if they won like 4-0.
And it'd be just so lame.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. People would.
It's either they win 4-0 right and spank them, or they lose 1-0 and it's like Chelsea. It's sad.
Because I think another thing is gonna be really competitive, and I think if they do win, like
they'll be buzzing. Like the teams are gonna be buzzing. That's gonna be an exciting game to watch.
I'm excited. Soon, it's like next month, right?
I think Holland. You think Holland wins Ballon d'Or?
I think Messi's gonna get it.
No, bro.
I think even though like as a Messi fan,
deserve it, bro.
Even as a Messi fan though, like I don't really care if he wins it or not. To be honest, because to me he's still the greatest player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like they're gonna give it to him based off the fact that he won the World Cup. And he also leads. You gotta think about it. He also his statistic wise, he's really good. Like he's still the most. I think he's the only player in all of Europe right now with 20 plus goals and assists.
Yeah, but like, bro, the French league is
but like,
bro,
it doesn't even matter.
Lacazette was struggling to score goals for Arsenal. Now he's competing with 24 goals.
Yeah, but like you gotta think about it this way
French
though.
league.
Like that's just the way the game is, man. Like they're kind of weak, but. Then here's another thing. Like when
if Holland wins the Champions League, Ballon d'Or.
I wouldn't mind giving it to him.
Right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, if you're gonna say that about Messi, then what we're the people that were when after Mbappe scored that hat trick, even though he lost, he scored that hat trick against Argentina in the World Cup final. People were talking about, give him the Ballon d'Or. I'm like, okay, he plays in the same exact league with Messi, so
I don't think Mbappe will ever win a Ballon d'Or at PSG.
I think
he needs to leave.
Yeah, I think he needs to leave too. I think he needs to leave. I think if he's trying to follow the footsteps of like Messi, Ronaldo, and all the other players, he needs to leave, bro. He needs to either go to the Spanish league or the English league, because that's the only place where you're gonna win. There's the two best leagues in the world, and like
no one wins. Like nowadays, like the dominance isn't at this Italian league to win the Ballon d'Or.
And like honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, like. In Germany, it's really just Bayern who can compete for the Champions League.
And like Dortmund does well, but it's
but they struggle in Europe.
And they sell all their top talent. That's why, like, you know what I mean. All their top talent dip.
Yeah.
Sancho dip. Holland dip.
But they produce some stars there though. I think Marco Reus is one of the only ones that's left there. And Aubameyang, remember Aubameyang?
Aubameyang was nasty there, bro. Even Götze was sick there too.
Yeah, Götze.
Lewandowski.
Yeah, Lewandowski.
You know what I mean? Like,
I hope that Messi leaves this year. I think he will, because I think not even Messi, but I think like people who are neutral fans are trying to realize like PSG really might not be a club. They just might be just like you know.
It's like a bunch of superstars all getting signed into
a team.
And I think
if Messi's smart, I really do want him to go to the Premier League, but I just knowing him and knowing his relationship with Guardiola, I would not be surprised if they boot Silva out
and Gundogan
out.
For
Messi, and they just get a bunch of good young players, and then just win the league and Champions League. And I don't want that to happen because I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm just like, bruh, I'm trying to compete. Yeah. Like I'm trying to compete.
Dude, Messi in the Prem would be so fun to watch.
And him and Haaland, I would just not even watch games. It'd be pointless of watching because like he would just
they're
feeding.
Gonna win.
Yeah, they'd just be feeding him. And then I think a good story would be him going back to Spain, Barcelona. Trying to win the Champions League, trying to win the La Liga, and just enjoying his career there.
Yeah,
and call it quits.
I genuinely think that Haaland is my front runner for the Ballon d'Or. I think Messi's in the top 5, right? I think he's there. I think top 3.
Here's the thing, though. I think the fact that he did struggle a little bit this year, and he also dealt with injury this year in France. But like, I just wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to him because it's the fact that like, bro, that. Like what he did in the World Cup is just insane.
If Haaland wasn't on Norway,
but he wasn't gonna win it though.
Say if Haaland was on England. Say if Haaland played for England, right? And cooked up.
Okay, yeah, but like then I can make theoretical hypotheses like that too. But it's just the fact that he did it though. And the other thing is like you gotta think about like this is Messi's like sometimes I forget about it. Like this dude's been to another.
That was his last dance. That was his
and the fact that he but he's probably gonna play in the Copa America next year too. But just the fact that like. I forget sometimes I'm like, yo, this dude made a World Cup final before this too. Like he carried that team before this too. Him and Mascherano, all of them. And if it wasn't for Higuain, he would have had 2 World Cup finals. Yeah. Then the script would have been like, shit. Yeah. Now the fact because remember when they lost to Saudi Arabia 2-1, and I remember it was a 5 a.m.
That woke him up, bro. That woke him up,
bro. And then people were not it's rigged. I'm like, bro, if it's rigged, how if it's rigged, bro? At the end of the day, if you look at the World Cup final, who had the most penalties?
Argentina?
France.
Did they?
Yeah, they had 2 penalties in the World Cup final.
What do you mean?
Mbappe only scored 1 goal from open play.
Oh, in the final itself. Okay, but in the whole tournament.
But still, though, you are thinking about it in a certain way, like he is also known to be a shitty penalty taker, and he is.
Who?
Messi. He's a pretty garbage penalty taker. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The only reason why I have some disdain for like the way Argentina made it was because Paredes should have been sent off in the Netherlands game. 100% should have been sent off.
I mean, stuff like that is
there were things like that where Messi should have gotten a yellow card for handballing the one ball that went over. Like there was little tiny things that happened that I was like.
But that's just like here's the thing though.
They let him rock, and I don't like that. They let him.
It's not even if I let him rock. Like if you go back to that Netherlands game, none of those other Netherlands players got a red card either. They were beefing and shit too.
But they got a yellow for bodying him.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Bro, he made a crazy challenge. Like, bro, a yellow card challenge.
Yeah,
right?
he did.
And then he blasted the ball straight into the bench. I was like, my jaw dropped watching that game. I was like, bro, this is a fight.
But you know what? In my opinion,
then he scores a pen in the penalty shootout. Like, it's but little things like that.
You can see, but that stuff like that happens in sports all the time.
All the time. Fair.
So it's just like you can signal out that, and I can find new games.
Only thing. You feel me? That was why I got. But
I think people. That's just a narrative people grab onto, especially people that were like so mad that Messi won. I think they were just like, oh well, no, you just got all these penalties. I'm like, bruh. Like, that team lost to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Was it not rigged when they lost Saudi Arabia?
I will say, though, that Saudi Arabia game, it's like Spain in 2010 lost their opener. But that made them wake up to not fear the next game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you lose right away,
bro,
it's the sting. It stings right away.
Messi missed a penalty in this World Cup, too. It was against Poland.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was against Poland.
Save, though. That was
by Szczesny. I think it was Szczesny or Fabianski. I forget one of them.
Yeah,
and
Szczesny.
Then I remember when he missed that penalty, I think it was 1-1 or 1. No, I think it was 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, right after that, bro, he had one of the best games. I don't think he scored that game. I think
he was feeding people, bro, tapping.
And then he also had 2 of the best assists I've ever seen.
He did have a sick assist. He did.
The one against the Netherlands and the one against Croatia.
Dude, I think the Netherlands one was my favorite.
Yeah, because that was so unexpected. And that was to Paredes, or who was that to? I forget. I forget who scored that. I don't know, but...
Probably Alvarez.
Oh, no, it was Montiel. It was one of their right backs. I forget.
Acuna,
I don't know. But
it was someone.
One of their defenders, and he just came on. It was just so crazy. But they did it, though. And that's what I'm saying, like... And I know, like, obviously, like, Ronaldo fans, they talk and stuff, but go back to that World Cup and compare that Portuguese team to that.
The thing is,
that Portuguese team was nasty,
Ronaldo
bro.
kind of deed himself over though, because honestly, like there was too much media attention on the wrong things on his him and his camp, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that people gotta sleep. That Morocco team is incredible, bro.
Bro, that Morocco team
was about to beat France. And low key, bro,
Morocco
I think that Moroccan team should have beat France. I think they should have had a pen that didn't get called for them. There was one that got called as a foul against Buffon.
But here's the thing, though.
They called it as a foul for him.
But here's the thing, though. People, you know how mad people would have been if Argentina went to that Morocco game and just spanked them? People would have been like, "Oh, well."
I don't think Morocco is getting spanked by Argentina.
But not right now.
That Argentina team was not spanking Morocco,
bro. That Argentina team is spanking every team, bro.
Morocco didn't let up a goal.
Well, yeah, I understand
for
that.
4
I understand
games,
that,
bro.
but like
against Croatia,
but here, that's the thing, though. So they go up against France, lose. So France.
How much
but
did they
here's
lose
the thing, though. It doesn't matter if they're the best defensive team, bro. Look at the stats at the end of the game. They bodied them possession.
France was the best offensive team, were they not?
And they lost. And that's what I'm saying. So you can't. So you can't say that Messi didn't deserve that World Cup. He beat the best team.
I never say he didn't deserve.
Yeah,
it.
but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
Like,
I'm saying if he beat that Morocco team, even if it was difficult, people would have been like, "Oh, well, it was Morocco." But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you, though. People would have grabbed onto that narrative and be like, "Well, it's just Morocco." And I could have been like, "Well, they're a really good defensive team." Like, "Oh, well, they're Morocco." That's what I mean. The fact that he beat that's a generational French team. He just beat.
Fair.
Like that's that, and a lot of the players aren't France by genetic. They're
African.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. But I think Morocco wasn't going to beat Argentina in the World Cup final. I mean, they might have, like, you know what I mean? Like that
would have been a game.
Yeah,
it would have been a game regardless.
It's just like
final.
Yeah, and I just think that Argentina team, they're just too good. But I think they have such a bond, and like when it comes to chemistry, they're just so good.
Genuinely, I think when it comes down to those types of things, like that's the best part about footy.
Yeah,
you know? It's like when you see those, like, what if this, what if that,
but look at
like,
all these players though, like
so
McAllister and all of them, like they came out of nowhere, bro. They're and that's what I was trying to tell my one friend. I'm like, bro, like you can compare that Argentina team to that Portuguese team. Portugal is nice, bro. Portugal is nasty.
I think Portugal. Loki just needed to trust Ronaldo up top and subbing. Like, Gonzalo Ramos scored that.
But he did fold. He did fold a little bit, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can sound like a hater, but he did fold a little bit. But then again, it's just like, who cares? Like, I'm a Messi fan. I'm just like, who cares if he folded? Like,
also, I didn't like their goalie choice. I didn't like their goalie choice for the Portuguese team. I thought that wasn't a smart choice. I thought there was a better person to put it in. Like, they had some things happen, and like again, I think the attention on that camp was not a positive. You know,
and you know what? It is what it is. Like at the end of the day, like I thought that World Cup was good. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that it was in the winter.
I will say the World Cup was incredible. Like watching those games was incredible.
I think my favorite game besides the final.
Bro,
it was one of those games. I like that game.
Bro, we're cooking, bro. I was loved when we played Spain. I was like, yo, Japan is cooking right now.
They're nasty.
And the thing is, like, I will say, like, the VAR technology and stuff, like the ball technology. Like, you know what I also really like that I wish they brought into the game in all leagues is the extra time thing, where there's like plus 12 minutes of extra time in a lot of games, plus 7 minutes, plus 8 minutes. Yeah. Because, dude, there's like 30 minutes that don't even get played in soccer sometimes because people are time wasting. Throw-ins, you're waiting here, you're waiting there. It's like, I want to actually watch the game, you know? So it's like adding that extra 10 minutes at the end. Dude, you actually get to play 90 minutes.
That's one reason why they were that Argentina and Netherlands game, that's why they were so tight. The Argentina was so tight at Netherlands was so tight.
It also came down to depth, bro. You need depth.
Bro,
to win the World Cup, you need depth.
Bro, I think where Argentina lacked and where I don't know how, like, they don't have depth. If you look at their depth really isn't that good.
Not really.
It's not that good.
But in every position that they had, was a perfect player for the system.
But that's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm like, bro, like
it was like the stars aligned. The stars aligned for Messi.
It was just meant for them to be, bro. Like and like he could have easily lost that. He could have lost against Netherlands, and then life would have been on. Like it would have been whatever. It's just the fact that I'm just like, okay, now they're winning.
Once they got by Netherlands, I knew they were winning.
Yeah, they were winning the World Cup.
I knew it.
Yeah,
dude, it was
and the fact, bro.
Because Alvarez instead of Higuain, bro, incredible.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, bro,
instead of like,
they were beating France 2-0 comfortably.
Yeah,
the fact they were spanking them so. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They were spanking them so bad. They could have done that to Morocco. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because they were spanking them so bad. they had to take Dembele and Giroud off. That was that bad. They took them off
Like
during
30 minutes
halftime.
in.
Yeah,
Not even 30
and
minutes in.
what folded? I think the dumbest thing Argentina did that could have cost them the World Cup is they took Di Maria out. They should have never took Di Maria out.
I think
he was
gassed.
cooking Koundé, yo.
Gassed.
But you know he did. He wasn't gonna want to come out.
He
was frying Koundé. He made Koundé look like bad,
Rubbish,
like
bro.
horrible.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But all in all, like, I think when it comes down to footy and all that, like, it's just like the best thing to talk about. Like, you know, you can do it for so long, and it's like also like a nice thing where you like experience like when you're playing the game itself too versus when you're watching it. It's so different. Like sometimes when I'm watching, I'm like, do this. But when you're playing, you're like, oh crap, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. So many things to do. So many options, decisions to make. And it's like I think that's the sweet part about footy. You know, there's always something to do. There's always a way to like get around it. But I want to go into talking a little bit about you and just like ask you like, what like you say that you're passionate about life. Like what about life is it that you're passionate about?
Besides like obviously like footy and sports and stuff, I think I like traveling, and that's one reason how footy kind of goes into traveling, because there's so many different cultures, like teams in top 5 leagues in the world, like Spain. Like I want to go to Spain one day and watch Barcelona. Go to England one day and watch this team. Watch Messi one day. Watch Ronaldo one day. You know, like stuff like that. And I'm passionate about traveling, and honestly, just like that's my big thing. Like I want to like see things that like maybe I know are going to be difficult to see, but like I want to kick it off the bucket list, you know what I mean? Like
no, traveling is awesome, and like seeing different experiences, seeing different things, like you end up opening your eyes to like the world, you know. You realize how huge the world is, yet how similar we all are at the same time.
I want to go to Brazil. Ever since that 2014 World Cup, like I really want to go to Brazil. And I was watching, I think a couple months ago, one of my like mutual friends on Instagram went there, and I was watching their story, and I was like, damn, like this is nice. And you know what, like it's worth it. I tell all my friends, like even like friends that are mutual friends, I tell them, I'm like, yo, like I understand like life is hard, like we got to do things, like we got to go to work,
bills things to do,
and you know, I'm like, bro, but don't like just do it, bro. Just
experience
do it. Find it and just do it, dude. Like right now, my biggest thing is like I want to move out my parents' house and I want to like live on my own. I don't even care if it's like in Nazareth. Like I find a place in Nazareth. I just want to have that kind of like that
the independence
where I'm just like I can do this. Like I know I can do this, rather than you know being a little lazy and because when you're with your parents, regardless of what age you are, you're
gonna be comfortable.
You're comfortable at the end of the day. The comfiness, it hits in for everybody at one point or another.
No, I agree, and it's so hard because like for me, like it's like hard because for me personally, it's like until like I'm married, there's no reason to live by myself. Like I don't need to be anywhere. Like I don't need privacy really from my parents. And like I also like if I, and God willing, inshallah, like have like a little bit of more wealth or be able to do this, do that. Like you want to be able to be like, okay, like I want to still be with my family. It's not like I would go live across the world and never see them again.
But that's what I'm.
You know, you want to still be in touch with them.
That's the thing though. I still want to be touched up. I think everybody works. And everybody's energy and like their waves are different from everybody else's. Like I think I'm more of a person that like I want to be by myself. I want to do that. Like I want to go home and I want to just like see if I can like, you know, it's kind of like a challenge to yourself. Like, because I know I can do it and stuff. But some people, they're different. Like they're like, and it's a cultural thing too. Like you understand because you're brown, you understand. So it's a little cultural thing too. And like I was actually talking to somebody.
Also, our parents don't kick us out.
Yeah, that too. We lucked out a little bit there too. So.
They always say like brown families. Even like my friend has a girl in Spain, and her family like she didn't move out until she's like 27, 28, until she like
my
was
age.
able to. You know what I mean? Like
26, 27.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like I think she's 28 right now maybe, and like
she just got her place. Yeah,
just recently, but it was because through like work. You know what I mean? Got her a place. So it's like cool. But other than that, like there wouldn't be a really reason for her unless she's married.
Exactly. So I'm like the opposite of that too. Like
you want to push the needle.
Yeah.
Like, no, let me get out.
Yeah, I want to like break that narrative. I think another thing is a lot of people that come from our cultural background, they're a little, maybe not all of them, but a majority of them are a little afraid to say certain things like
to the parents. Like, yeah,
to the parents, I'm a total different person. Like I'm the type of person, I'm just like, look, like you come to this world alone and you're gonna leave this world alone, regardless of your friends and family. At the end of the day, I understand like we have friends and families and we love them and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's only you, bro. Yeah. Like your conscious is only controlled by you. Like your destiny is controlled by you. Like, yeah, it's good to take advice. It's good to get help from people. You should. You're human. That's what so humans are for. But like,
you have to make your own decisions.
You have to make even if you need help from somebody. Like you need your parents to help you get a spot. Like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need help your parents to help you get a spot, or whatever that case may be. But it's the fact that you did it, you took the risk, and you got your spot. Now you can make your own. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's another thing.
And
that
following that instinct, you have to follow your instinct.
Yeah, you have to be your own person, and I think you have to. The beginning of that journey is always going to be difficult. Then once you settle in, then it's just.
They always say the hardest part is like that.
The first step is the hardest part. Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to follow your instinct. Like, everybody here has a purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
you have to follow that purpose. And if you don't follow that purpose, you'll constantly live your life on other people's checklists.
Yeah.
You know, you're not living life on your checklist or your to-do list. You're doing something that someone else wants you to do. And that's like the biggest thing for me. It's like, I love using my planner, like journaling and stuff. And I have this planner, and I always write in the things I want to do for my week, my day, my spiritual things, my tasks of the day. Like, I always write it down. And I'll either feel really successful at the end of the day, or really like, I didn't get as much done as I wanted. But I know that like I'm getting things done at some level.
Yeah,
I'm pushing the needle forward in this regard to something. Oh, language learning. I'm doing this language I want to learn. Perfect. I put a little bit of time in this, even if it's 5-10 minutes every day. 5-10 minutes. After a while, that's going to add up. After a while, I'm going to know 1,000 words in a new language. That's way better than I was 200 days ago. You know, it's like you constantly keep leveling up here, until one day, like, it all comes in together. And it's like to get to that end goal is like the sweet spot. You know, it's like, and like people would say, like, fall in love with the journey. It's like the process of it. But to start the journey, you have to start in general.
Yeah. And there's a quote. It goes like, the two most important like times in a man's life is the day he's born and the day he figures out why. So it's just like, what's your purpose? Like, why were you brought into this world? Like, everybody has a purpose and stuff. So it's good to have like plan out your life, because that you're just giving more purpose. Like, you're finding your purpose in a certain way. Like, some people, they just deal with things differently. Like you said, you have a planner and you plan your ways out. Some people, they just go with their instinct and they just do what they want to do. You just got to find your way, bro. Whatever, float your boat, and like, that's it. It's hard in the beginning. It's always going to be hard in the beginning. But once you get that, it's like smooth sailing. Once you find that one gear, you're just going.
Cruise. Then you get into cruise control. It's like, you gotta get to that speed.
And then your mentality changes. You realize, like, okay, I gotta be more responsible. I gotta sleep on time. I gotta save this amount of money. I can't always be spending money to go out and eat, which is unhealthy anyway. So you just find an excuse to stay at home and eat. Like, and all that little things like that add up, and you become yourself. Like,
of course. No, I love that, bro. Yeah. And kind of going off of like this energy and stuff too. Like, what is something in life that you feel like you've done that you're proud of?
I think when like traveling, I think I was really like always wanted to do that as a person, and then after COVID is when I just started doing it with my friends. I think that was like, that's something that I
like the wake up call. It was like, let's do it.
And I think what I'm so proud of is that like I understood like what I want to do and what I am and stuff. Like, I always knew I was a little different from maybe like people in my culture and stuff. Not maybe like 100% different, but like I'm not really religious, like, and I don't really follow like a lot of like that teaching and stuff. Like, I just don't. I don't want to say I don't care enough for it, because that sounds wrong, but I just don't. It just doesn't interest me.
It hasn't like really hit your heart. Like, it's not in that feeling yet.
It's just something I just really haven't taken the time out of my like life to really. And I always tell myself, I'm like, if I ever don't find God, I think I'll still be happy in my life, because I never, in my opinion, like, I'm doing what I have to do.
You're doing what you can in the moment that you're in. Yeah. And I always think like it's something, especially being Muslim, like something that I always believe in is like, you can never really judge someone's journey, because you never know where they'll end up 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. And so you can judge, like, how people are always so judgmental, like, especially some religious people are the most judgmental people.
I was just about to say that. Like, there's a lot of people that are religious out in this planet, like, that are super religious, that go to church every day, that go to mosque every day, that go to synagogue. They're like the meanest, judging disgusting mentality.
And those are the people who don't even understand what religion really is.
Yeah.
And because religion, and the purpose of religion is to understand that it's a journey between you and God.
Yeah.
And understand that to be best version of yourself, you have to make sure you separate yourself from the ego.
Yeah.
And ego is what's going to make you feel like, oh, like, there's a really cool story. It's like, oh, like, a guy was like, basically, it's like, no, there's always like stories about like, oh, this guy was going to go to heaven, but this happened. So one of the stories is like, it's a hadith, and it was explaining like, this guy was like, oh God, like, I want to go to heaven, right? So do all these things. He prayed every time, did all the things, he fasted, everything, right? Perfect guy, right? On paper, right? But the problem was this, when he's like, oh, like, I want to go to heaven based on my good deeds.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
no,
more than just your good
you
deeds.
don't go to
Yeah.
heaven just because you good deeds. You go to heaven based on the mercy of the Creator.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like if you don't understand that simple principle
Mhm.
that God is all forgiving, right?
Yeah.
Then you're not really understanding it. It's about your deeds. You know what I mean? And that's the part that
yeah.
I really started like resonating with. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? That makes a lot of sense. Like,
And that's the thing. Like my mom always tells me, she's like, you know, why don't you ever go to like when you go to the Gurdwara,
Mhm.
you go to the mosque,
Yeah.
and like she's like, you know, why don't you go there and stuff? I just tell her, I'm like, I'm not religious. Like it doesn't interest me.
Mhm.
Like why would I go somewhere where like
you don't want to force it.
Force
and
it,
if you
yeah.
are gonna go, you're gonna go because your heart is telling you.
yeah,
to
and
go.
I do go sometimes. I'm not gonna lie that I don't go. I do go
Mhm.
sometimes and stuff, but like I do think about it when I and like just randomly pop in my head. I'm like, yo, if you're going to a religious place to just gossip and have fun, like, what are you really doing there? Then
It's
you're
defeating
not
the
really.
purpose.
And this is coming from a person that really isn't religious. That is kind of like at. You know, I don't want to say I'm 100% atheist, but like I just don't really that stuff doesn't really interest me.
Mhm.
Like if you 100% prove to me that there wasn't a God, I'd be like, all right, like
Mhm.
I'm that type of person. Like I really wouldn't.
You
want to
see like the proof, the factual evidence,
Yeah.
and that's normal. As a human being,
Yeah.
bro, you're supposed to question things.
That's the
You're not
thing.
supposed to
You're
just
supposed to
accept things
question,
and that's
yeah.
it. That's the thing that I've always felt with Islam is that I always ask questions. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like
you
I
have
was a
to.
talkative person, like, oh, that's my dad. I'm like, Dad, why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? And when the more questions I kept asking and the more answers I received, the more content my heart became in
Yeah.
following my faith.
Yeah.
You know, but I wouldn't have followed my faith if I didn't have that.
And questions, yeah.
It's stupid, you know what I mean?
Your curiosity is what makes you who you are. And there was, I remember I was talking to somebody about this not too long ago. We were talking about like what happens after death and stuff.
Mhm.
And people, you know, everybody has their own opinions. Like religious
Mhm.
people have their own opinion. Science has its own opinion.
Mhm.
And I remember I was watching a Family Guy episode, and I think Stewie asked Brian that. He was like, "What happens after death?" And Stewie and Brian was like, "The dog." He was like, "That's it, you're done." And then Stewie was like, whoever he was talking to, and I thought about that too. I'm just like, what if that's really how it is? Like that's it. There's nothing after that. Like how would you really want to live life if you knew that there was nothing after? Like there was no
Heaven,
hell. You just been lied to your whole life, and that's why I saw. I think of things. I'm just like, damn. Like if that's the case, then like I really want to live life. That makes life more precious to me. That makes me more worth living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think for me, like the biggest part for me when it came down to like religious reasons and stuff for me is that this life is merely but a test.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the reason why I believe in like an afterlife is because there are wicked people in this world, right?
Yeah.
Everyone,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
that there's wicked people,
Yeah.
but there's good people, right? And the problem is that people are wicked, and because there's so much evil and corruption and wicked people run this current state of realm, it makes me feel like, you know what? That means that the people who die with cancer at 5 years old, the people who get abducted and done all these things to, et cetera, there has to be a place of rest for these types of people who went through these painful things in life.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of reward, some sort of bounty for these people as like karma or energy.
I was
You
just
feel
gonna
it
say that.
internally, and I
Yeah.
think that is something
I was
that
just gonna say
always
that.
like resonated with me with religion and Islam at least.
Yeah.
Is that it gave me that answer where it's
Yeah.
like if you're not getting tested at all in life, and life is easy, you're chilling, you got the money, you got the
Yeah,
girl, you got
exactly,
this,
yeah.
right? And life's easy, you should be really afraid. Why?
yeah.
Because that means God isn't testing you because you're not even in the school.
Yeah, that's a good.
But if
thing.
you're
That's a really good
religious,
way to
everyone's like,
think
oh,
of
wow,
it.
the religious people are
Yeah.
always going through the worst. You know,
That's a good way to think of things.
because
Yeah.
they're going through the tests of this
Yeah,
world
life.
for the afterlife
And
of forever.
I think about it sometimes too. I'm just like, damn, like sometimes because everybody struggles. Like I struggle
of course, of
sometimes.
course.
Like I'm just like, damn, like maybe like I'm just doing this wrong. Like maybe I'm supposed to be doing this, but then I'm just like, who knows? Like, because at the end of the day, like we have our own opinions, but at the end of the day, as human beings, we think we know a lot, but we don't.
You know nothing,
We
yeah.
know nothing. We're literally, you know as much as me, and I know as much as the next dude. Like that's it. That's how much we know. But the I think what it is that we need to realize that like this is it. Like this is your life. You didn't ask to be born, but you're here.
so do something with
So
it.
do something with it. I don't care if you worship potatoes. Like, you know what I mean? You have to find your purpose in life at the end of the day, because you can't be like, you can't be lazy. And I remember another big thing I want to talk about was like, I remember one of my friends was like, man, humans, like, because we work, obviously, like you work, I work, and our parents work and stuff, blah, etc. Some people are rich, some people are poor, some people are middle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he was like, man, humans aren't meant to work. And I thought about it for a little bit. I'm like, no, I think humans are meant to work. You know why? It's because if you go back thousands and thousands of years, like before there was religion, before there was cultures, like our ancestors, our human ancestors, if they didn't put the work in, we wouldn't be here. Like, if you go back 10,000, 20,000 years ago.
The definition of work is different. For
Yeah.
example, work behind a 9 to 5 at a computer,
Yeah, exactly.
crunching numbers for an Excel
Yeah.
sheet. Okay, that I agree with. But you're telling me they weren't mending the fields for
Yeah,
food?
for food.
They were working even harder back
you
then.
think you think women weren't like, you know, doing their role when men were doing their role? Like even
you wanted to eat meat, you had to hunt.
animals, like
spear for
animals to
yourself.
this day, like bees collecting honey and stuff, that's their role in life. That's their purpose.
their
They're
purpose,
doing
yeah.
their purpose. And people who think like, well, humans aren't meant to work, we're just supposed to be chilling. No, we're not. Like, and honestly, that's low-key disrespectful, especially if you're religious. Like, God
Yeah.
gave you this life to be
I
lazy.
agree.
Like,
I
come
agree,
on,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and that's coming from a person that honestly maybe like doesn't believe in God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm probably a little confused about that situation too. But that's coming from a person that's not religious, telling you that, like, how would you, like, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
God gave you this life and you're
It's-
gonna use it to be
to be like
lazy,
that, yeah.
like, come
It's, like,
on,
disrespectful.
it's disrespectful.
One of the things that I really like about that actually is like when you start really thinking about like life and work and what we're supposed to do, our
Yeah.
purpose, right? And like obviously we have ancestors, right? So it's
Yeah.
like my ancestors didn't create this or do this or this or struggle for this or this to have this lineage for me not to do something with it. And I
Yeah.
think when that moment in my life hit, I was like, you know what? Like it's true. Like my father didn't come to this country for me to be
Yeah,
some lazy
exactly.
wacko. Like
Yeah.
no, he forced me to dream. He wanted me to dream big. Like think about how much I can change the world. And it's like the people who think they're crazy enough to change the world are often the people who do.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
that's the same thing with like a lot of these billionaires. They were just people like us, like the company I work for. He's a billionaire and he started when he was 16, dropped out of high school, has no GED, stuff like that. But like, I'm not telling people to do that or anything. I'm just saying like some people are
Rare
crazy.
case, but at least the thing is, if you're to do
Yeah.
that, you have to have a vision, a plan.
Yeah.
Not just I'll hope.
Oh yeah,
I'll
I dropped
find-
out of high school. Yeah, then like
I'll be rich
4 years
tomorrow.
later, you're stuck doing absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, you got to have you got to have an ethic. You know what I mean? You got to have a work ethic, and that's another thing too about like people don't realize you can be the most talented person in the world. You can be good at something. You can be the best at something, but if you don't have the ethic, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's like the talent quote. It's like talent, like is talent.
Talent,
So, like,
hard work is better than talent. That was
Because
the
like when
quote.
talent doesn't work hard,
Yeah,
hard work will win.
hard work always works harder than talent, and that's a fact though.
Or it's like an idiot with a plan is better than a genius with no plan.
Exactly. Like that's the whole purpose of life. Like just like in 2-3 years, like I know you want to be somewhere, like you have goals. Everybody has goals, dude.
Yeah.
Like who cares like what people think? That's another thing too. People care too much what people think.
People are too afraid to start at the bottom.
It's the
and
risk,
like, to
man.
be and like to feel like judged too. It's like, dude, who cares? Like even for me, like I love talking to people, so it's like
Yeah.
let's do a podcast, you know. And it's not just like let me do a podcast and talk about like stupid things, you know. Because nowadays, dude, people just talk about the dumbest things on like I obviously see like obviously social media and stuff. They're like, oh, like how many bodies you have or how many this. I'm like, dude, shut up. Like that's such a lame thing to talk about. It's like there's so much more real topics to talk about. Like obviously we
Yeah.
talked about soccer, footy for
Yeah.
like a little bit, but then there's also a human conversation to
Yeah.
have. You know, we're talking about racism, dude. We're talking about this. Like,
Yeah.
these are more real conversations to have at a very like calm level of intellect. You know, it doesn't need to be like, oh, super nerdy or super this or super
Yeah.
statistical, but it doesn't have to be backed by anything. Just a conversation. And I think that's the part for me that as a purpose, like I love communicating with people the right way. You know, without any judgment. Like let someone freely talk, and that's the whole point of what
Yeah.
conversation is supposed to be.
I try to tell people that too. I'm just like, yo, you're gonna have to understand that like people in this world, like they're gonna be different from you. Like you're gonna have to live with that. Like that's just something you have to live with. That's why I don't understand people that are like always judgmental and stuff. I'm like, bro, what's the point? Like it's another thing with money too. Like none of that's gonna go with us when we die. These cars, you know, cool sneakers that we have, the PS5s, the iPhones, like these cool things that we have, materialistic things, like none of them are gonna go with us. So in reality of life, it's just like, you know, have fun while you're here. You just gotta be smart about
And
things, man.
do with it what you know you need to do.
And you know, you have to take risks. What you cannot in life, like our parents, they came here as immigrants. That's a risk.
Yeah.
Coming here and not speaking English.
They didn't know anything. They didn't know who to talk to.
My dad came here when he was 18 and no English, nothing. You know, his brother, my uncle, he came here with them. I don't know if they came together. I'm not 100% sure, but like they came here not speaking anything and they made a name for themselves. And yeah, I understand like their mentality was way different from ours, but I'm just saying like that's just something to think about.
Theirs was like this or that's it. Like there's no like ifs, ands, or buts.
No,
like it's either
but
this or that.
Yeah.
But because we're first generation, right? Like I was born in Egypt still, but
Me too. I was born.
Are you
back
born
home.
there?
Yeah.
So it's like when you're here, it's like we get the sense of comfort.
Me too.
You
That's
don't
why
have to work as hard.
That's why I live by myself. I was telling you.
So you're saying like, yo, I need to put myself in overdrive gear. I need to put myself to a factory setting. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever that
Default
like,
settings.
and it's like that's the energy we need to be on. And I think for me, like, I get a lot of it sometimes. Where now it's like I see people around me living this easy, casual life, but then I'm like, wait, like I can't. If I want to be the person I want to become, I can't do these easy things. You need to choose the hard. You know, you need to choose the hardship now so you can enjoy later. And it's a quote my dad always tells me. Like he's just like, Ali.
Yeah, you have
Work hard now, enjoy later. And I'm like,
you have
Dad,
to,
I'm 18,
Yeah.
I'm 17, I'm 16. I
Yeah,
want to just go outside and have fun with friends.
But you know what? You're somewhat right in that situation too. I'm gonna tell you why. Is because I was talking to some kid at the gym a couple days ago, and he was talking about index funds, like putting money in banks and stuff.
A young kid?
Yeah, he's about our age, and he was talking about like he's like, yeah, I put like 3K in index funds, and I was like, that's so cool. I was like, yo, so how does that work? Because I didn't really know much about it. And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, you could even put 1,000 in there. And I'm like, he was like, yeah. So we were just talking about it. He's like, think about it this way. He's like, you put 1,000 in index fund now at 27, 25, 27, and by the time you're 65, you'll have $1 million. But I'm like, I don't want $1 million when I'm 65. What's the point of having $1 million? I'm gonna the 3K that I'm gonna give almost every month to that index fund to just have 65 when I'm $1 million. What's the point?
Yeah,
And like
and you know what it is too. It's like people forget to invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you can invest for money, but bro, life isn't guaranteed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, dude,
I
invest
don't
in
know if I'll live to
yourself.
65, like,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Invest and things. Investing in yourself
crazy.
will give you skills. Those skills will then give you money.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's exactly
how life
like,
works.
Like I do, you know, like my job, it's like technical based jobs, more IT based, you know, do stuff like that. And so that's a skill. Like I'm doing certain things to better that skill because I do want to get paid more. Why do you work? You work for money, bro. Like you have to work for money. No one's working for free. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
and the work you do for free is work that's improving your own individual skills that are your own tactical skills that you're hold, you know? Like if I edit a video, I'm not asking someone to pay for it or anything. I'm just learning the skill, and it's work. I am working time. It's free, but it's an investment in myself.
Yeah. Even to go to the gym, even though you pay a monthly to go to the gym, but it's your own time.
Yeah.
It's free, your own time. No one, you're not, technically you are paying to go to the gym, you're right. But like, you know what I mean? Is you're working on yourself, which is free.
I mean, theoretically, say you don't have a gym membership, you can go outside and do push-ups. Sit-ups,
literally, you
run.
can,
Running
bro.
is free.
People pay so much money for trainers and stuff, which I'm saying is okay
If you need it,
If you need, it's all right. Because a lot of people have seen success with it. I'm just like, so many people pay so much money because a lot of people do get scammed a little bit, especially on
Dude,
TikTok.
at the end of the day, you know what to do.
Yo,
Stop
bro,
eating crap
go
food.
to
Eat good
Google.
food.
It's free.
Yeah,
go to
dude.
Google and
Like-
type in, "Oh, I want to be lean." You'll find 2 million articles that will help you out.
So easy.
It's so easy,
You want to
bro.
lose weight, you need a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
You want to have green protein and lose fat, build muscle.
Yeah.
Have a high protein,
Low fat diet.
low carbohydrate, like middle carbohydrate. Don't
Yeah.
overindulge on like pizzas. Oh, eat beef. Okay, don't eat this kind of bread. Maybe eat
Yeah.
like a little lighter version. Eat this. Like eat more whole foods. Don't eat the crap. Like don't eat chips and candy. Oh, okay. Solve those simple problems. Look at the difference in your body.
Exactly. And I understand some people they don't have the time to do that, so they hire trainers. They have meal preps. That's cool.
If you have the money for
Yeah,
it, do it.
bro. Hell yeah. But I tell people that like you don't need to do that though. Like I always tell people that like if you want to do that, that's cool, but you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like vehicles and houses. Like you don't need to get the nicest car. You can if you want. Like I hope you do in life, but like you don't always need that. You don't always need the biggest house, the nicest car.
It's not about what we need or want, but it's almost like we chase our desires so wholeheartedly.
But you gotta be stoic about situations like that. You have to think without, like you have to control your emotions. Like you can't always be like, oh,
it's so
man.
easy to chase your desires,
It's
but
what
it's
I'm
hard
saying.
to be
It's like
choosing your
the
purpose.
devil's work, as they say in religion. Like it's the devil's work. It's the devil talking to you. A lot of Christian people think like that too, because they're like, you know, when you do something bad, they're like, oh, it's the devil's work. That's like the devil's doing that, and you know, like people are like,
Because Satan will whisper in your ear.
yeah,
wrong.
whisper
That's
in your
normal.
ear. And I forget how do they call Satan in Islam?
Shaitan.
Shaitan, like
Yeah.
they're like Shaitan, like you know, you're doing what he's telling you, like lust, gluttony.
Or like lowering your gaze.
Yeah.
For example, it's like lowering your gaze, like to look at like girls, right?
Yeah.
It's like, for example, for us as a man, like you shouldn't be lusting after women because you have to honor them, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, granted, nowadays, like people be wearing skin tight everything and doing this
Yeah,
and doing
which
that and
is cool,
showing off.
whatever,
So it's
yeah.
like it's almost harder in like a Western society to
Yeah.
like, keep looking away. And like I was telling people, like I'd be in the gym like staring at the floor sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
don't even want to look up because I don't even want to like my eyes to like glaze over even by accident because then I'll internally feel like like you feel guilty.
And then
like, you know?
another thing is like you feel guilty, and the person that's looking at you can easily be like, oh, well, he's doing this to me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you could just been looked at it by mistake, and that's another thing. Like it's difficult, man. Life is difficult in every aspect almost.
Mhm.
So it's just.
But
like,
it's a matter of like choosing the difficulty
Yeah.
and like running with it. Like,
Yeah.
do we all have problems?
Yeah,
we all have
everybody has
issues. We all have things to deal with. You just have
Animals
to be,
have issues. Like everybody
Yeah,
has issues.
you just have to be okay with dealing with the problems you have
Exactly.
because they could always be worse and they could always be better, right? There's like really cool hadith in like Islamic hadith that I remember reading. It's like sometimes like as a human you're gonna always want more, right?
Yeah.
And if you whenever you get like a little arrogant or thinking like, oh, I don't want to have this, I don't have this, I don't have that, always put yourself think right away and be like, okay, think about someone who doesn't have what I have right now.
Yeah.
Then instantly humble
That's
yourself.
exactly how like I think about a lot of things. It's just I think about it like oh yeah, like my friend or someone I know has a really nice car. Maybe I should go tell him, my mom or my dad, like, hey, let's go get that car. But then I'm like, no, it's like why if I don't really need it? You know what I mean? Like
It's like living
there's
below
someone
your
out,
means. There's
yeah,
no
it's
need.
like someone out there in this world that in whatever corner of the world they live in, and they don't have anything.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're living life.
People forget to even be thankful for their two eyes, their
Yeah.
ears, their nose, that they
Their
can.
feet,
You know
like,
how it's like it's such a funny thing, but it's like how when you get sick and you can't breathe through your nose, and
Yeah.
how you be like, oh, every time you get sick,
I
and you
hate
can't
it.
breathe your nose, you're
I
like,
hate it.
I give anything to breathe normally again, right? And you're like so nasally congested, but then the second you're breathing fine,
You forget all about it.
Forget all about
And I
it.
think that's a lot of reason why people become religious, because when they go through difficulties in life is when they start finding God. Like a lot of people, man, like
Mhm.
that's one reason why I kind of maybe that's one reason why I was so confused and I steered away from religion, because to me it was just like, okay, if I struggle in life, do I need to go to God, or do I just need to tell myself not to do that again so I don't do that again?
Mhm.
Do
It's
you know
like
what
where
I
do you
mean?
get your moral ethics or
Yeah.
values or guidelines? It's
Yeah.
like,
So
who
some people do
stops you
that.
from doing it? Is that just your own ego or yourself,
yeah.
or is it a higher power telling you don't do it?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I tell people, I'm like, yeah, some people they choose that religious life after the struggles. Like, look at in jail. Look how many people become Muslim in
Mhm.
jail. Like Muhammad Ali, one of the became
Like,
Muslim.
mhm.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those people became Muslim. After difficult times in their life, which is cool.
And they start looking for the truth. And like
Yeah,
the
that's-
best part about it too is like when you look for the truth and the truth finds you and you find the truth, it's like the best harmonious
Yeah,
feeling.
exactly. So that's one reason. That's why I tell people, I'm like, everyone chooses their life differently. I don't think I 100% need to be religious to find my purpose. I think
Mhm.
some people do. Okay,
And
that's
the
what
thing is, even if it happens down the road, it'll be
Yeah.
because it had to happen.
it
That
had
way.
to happen. Yeah,
Like maybe you're not ready for it in this current moment.
Yeah.
Your state of mind. Maybe you're ready for it in 5 years. Maybe you're ready for it tomorrow. Maybe
Yeah.
you're ready for it here.
Yeah.
It's like you never know where someone's journey is going to end
Yeah.
up. And so it's like, and something for me, like I want to end off like with this topic is that I always realize that like for me, like one of the hardest things for me to do is to forgive those who have hurt me.
Yeah.
Because I tend to think like, you know what, like I have hurt people before in my past and
Yeah.
people have hurt me.
Yeah.
But at least, I'll always admit to my faults and be like,
Yeah.
I apologize,
Yeah.
for the things that I personally have done
100%.
wrong, But I think the hardest part for people is to forgive. Because
Yeah.
you can say I'm sorry, right? But it's the people about forgiving you. And for me, I think what really helped me learn how to forgive people was understanding if I ask God for forgiveness, right?
Yeah, I expect him to give it to me.
You expect it because
Yeah.
you know that God is all merciful, all powerful,
Yeah.
can listen to everything. That God is closer to us than our jugular vein,
Yeah.
and that to me is like an intense like, analogy, where it's like closer to me than my jugular vein. Without my jugular vein, you're done.
Yeah.
So God's closer to me than even that. Then okay, cool. Like I can talk to God any moment, and God will forgive me. Okay, because I mean it, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm realizing like, so if someone says, "Hey, bro, I'm sorry for doing something that hurt," right? Who am I not to forgive them?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not God.
You know what I mean?
So,
And
yeah.
that's what I think. I'm like, yo, who am I not to forgive someone who's
Yeah.
hurt me? And for me, it's like, I think when I've gotten to that mental state, I've found way more peace in my life.
And that's one reason why I think I like the idea of me kind of having my own place, is because that way when I make mistakes, it'll be my mistakes. I don't have to blame anybody else.
There's no excuse to blame on
Yeah,
someone
and
else.
that's another thing too. I don't have to like. At the end of the day, like you have to realize, like when it comes to forgiveness, like forgiving people, if I, like you truly don't. It's hard to really hate people unless
Mhm.
they did something insane, like over the border type of thing,
Mhm.
like insane type of thing. But it's hard to hate people, bro.
Mhm.
Like you're gonna argue with friends, you're gonna argue with family. Like there's gonna be days you're gonna resent your parents and stuff.
Yeah,
And you're gonna
these
be like,
people piss you
why the
off.
hell am I? Well, I hate my mom, my dad. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be days you do that and stuff. But then like you gotta think about it. The best way to think about stuff like that is just to know that like it's done. Like it's yesterday's news, bro. You cannot change the past. Like
Mhm.
if whatever happened,
Move on, move forward.
bro. Like even if you have a hard time forgiving people, it's just like okay.
And forgiving yourself.
And you have to learn how to like forgive yourself, love yourself before you do anything else. Like basics like that. But I think what people really struggle with is that they just have such a hard time with like. And it boils down to ego. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna say I have a huge ego, but sometimes I'm just like, nah, bro, I don't need to do that. But then I think I'm like, nah, maybe I should do that. Like, maybe I should humble myself a little bit. Maybe I should just wait a little bit before I, purchase this and stuff. Like, cause you don't need to, you know what I mean? And that you got to learn how to forgive and love yourself and kind of stuff like that.
No, of course, Brian. I really do appreciate
Yeah.
kind of having this talk too, because
Yeah.
like it kind of makes you realize there's so many different walks of life. There's so many different ways where
Yeah.
someone can have this experience to happen to
Yeah.
them. And God willing, bro, inshallah, like for me personally and for you, like
Yeah.
we get that life of ease. Your ease like kind
Yeah.
of reached us. We get to that point
course.
of purpose.
Yeah, everybody wants to live life easy. Well, you want to live life hard. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everyone, you want to live life easy and stuff.
Yeah.
But difficulty is
Is inevitable.
you're born through pain. Like when your mom was pushing you out, she wasn't
Yeah.
laughing. She was
Yeah.
in pain. Like you're
Yeah.
born through pain, bro. Like, and that's the same thing. Like you look at religious point of views and stuff like Jesus, Muhammad. Like,
Mhm.
they all went
They all went
through
through
pain.
struggle.
They all went struggles. So
No,
it's just
exactly.
life.
So one of what two things I know obviously is like I always ask like what's a word you want to learn in Arabic and your favorite quote. So the word that you wanted to learn in Arabic was I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So again, like this is Egyptian dialect would be ana. So you can say with me ana.
Anna,
So ana just means like me,
Uh-huh.
like in first person, like ana.
Uh-huh.
Then gain,
Anna Gain,
ga,
Ga,
ein,
Hein, Anna Gain.
ana gain.
Oh, bro, if I ever go to like Egypt, I'm like, Anna Gain. I'm like, I'm hungry now. I need some falafels, bro.
They gonna be like, we got you, we got you.
You know how I love like chicken over rice.
Mhm.
So there's a spot near us called Lachines.
Mhm.
It's
Nah,
Anna.
we hitting.
Anna what?
Gain.
Anna Gain.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Gain.
Ga,
Ga.
ein.
Ayin.
Mhm.
Oh,
Anna
bro.
gain.
That's why you gotta teach me. I'm
Yeah.
going there like Anna Gain. Like right now, I need some food.
It's so funny because like even the intensity of how you're saying it is like how you would actually say
Like Anna Gain. Like fuck,
Yeah.
I'm dying, bro. Give me some food.
Perfect,
Yeah, that's
bro.
tough,
And
though.
the next part is like I asked like what is one of your favorite quotes, and you said the giant in front of you is never bigger than the God inside you.
Yeah,
so I kind of want
that's from the Bible.
So I want to kind of go off
Yeah.
how you feel like about that.
So
quote.
like like I said, I'm not religious and stuff or anything like that, but I think that's a really important quote because if you think about it this way, like God is anything you make it. You know what I mean? So to me, like the giant in front of you is like anything, any situation, like life, financial struggles, struggle with your weight, struggle with family, friends, but it's not bigger than
God.
you.
Yeah,
than
it's
you.
bigger than you, and I
Yeah.
think it's cool because like I was saying with the jugular vein thing, it's like
Yeah.
God is closer to us than our jugular vein.
Yeah.
Which means that like God is within all of us and
Yeah.
he oversees everything. We all have this instant connection with God.
Yeah.
This entity, this creation. So it's like
And I tell people that too. Like, some of my friends be like, "Oh no, you're atheist." I'm like, I'm not atheist. I'm trying to tell you guys that like I don't need to believe in religion to know
I
that
know
there's
what
a
you mean.
higher power.
like the
out
modern form of like the religion versus understanding what a God is or
Yeah.
a spiritual entity. Like I think it's called agnostic, right? It's called-
agnostic, yeah, but like the way I think of it is like that there might because I'm okay with the fact that there might not be something out there. But when I say like the giant in front of me is not bigger than the God inside me, I mean myself. Like I'm not saying I'm God, but like my inner conscious. At the end of the day, your conscious is your own God.
Is your reality.
Is your God. That's who's when you steal, you know you're doing something
It's
wrong.
a conscious, the inner
If
self.
you know. So like people that are serial killers that go to jail, they know what they're doing is wrong. They can play the blame game. Oh, I'm crazy. No, you know what you're doing is wrong. You know that.
And like you're sick in the head. Like
Yeah.
You know, it's so weird. It's like when I was 12, I was attracted to 12-year-olds. When
Yeah.
I was 15, I was attracted to
15-year-olds,
15-year-olds.
yeah.
When I'm 20, I'm not attracted to 6-year-olds.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So you know that's wrong.
Yeah, you know that's wrong.
Like,
Exactly.
That's why I'm like I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, you know that's wrong. Like oh, I'm sick. No.
No,
You-
no.
You're not sick. You were choosing to do
Yeah,
this.
and that's what I mean by like that. To me, the way I think of God is my conscious, because that's who's telling me like this is right, this
Right
is
or
wrong.
wrong.
So that's how I think of God. So like the giant in front of you, you know the struggles. Like if you know that, you're having issues with maybe, like just for example, say you're having issues with
Like
your
stealing
anxiety or
alcohol
something. Yeah, like that's a giant. But is that you're telling me that habit is stronger than your will? Like what?
Like you become a slave to that
Yeah.
thing.
that materialistic thing. Like even if you live in a household where your parents, whether you live with your parents, your step parents, whatever, and they're kind of like a little, they might be bad for your mental health. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna just sit there and listen, or you gonna take the risk? Like we're talking about the risk, and listen to your conscience and say, look, if I stay here, I'm not being who I want to be. So the giant in front of you is not bigger than the God inside you. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're bigger than a lot of these issues in life, man.
Of course. I love the explanation, bro. And it's like, it just goes back to that whole thing where it's like, just constantly find that purpose.
Yeah, that's why you're here, man. Like, there's just so much to life, man. Like, there's so much to live and so much to do. Like, we waste it on so much stupid things. Even me, like, sometimes, like, I'll go and do things. I'm like, oh, okay, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like,
you feel like you just wasted time.
And
you feel like, oh, why did I do this?
Or when I tell myself, oh, I gotta go and I'm supposed to work on this IT certificate, and I don't do it, then I'm like, what's the point of me even paying for it if I'm not gonna do it? You know.
And I think one of the biggest things that the part of that helped me was it was a quote based saying like, the moment you basically don't do something that you promised yourself, you lack the discipline for, you're basically like disrespecting yourself. Because you told yourself, hey, I want to achieve this, I want to do this. And when I don't do it, that means I broke a promise to myself. Which is affecting my own mental state. Because that means I cheated myself from what I knew I could achieve.
100%.
So that's why it's always like push yourself to be better.
You have to, man.
And have accountability. Like nowadays people lack accountability.
That's one reason why I want to live on myself, because like then I can't do the blame game, or nobody can do the blame game to me. You know what I mean? Then it's just you on your own.
Exactly, bro. But again, thank you for tuning in to the Oly Kanoli Show. Thank you for coming on the show,
I like
bro.
it. It took a while for us to kind of plan this out, but
I'm glad you're here, bro.
Good things take time.
Of course, of course. So thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of the Oly Kanoli Show. Today was Ramandeep Sandhu, so please leave a bunch of friendly comments down below. He's an awesome person, great conversation, and it's really nice when you actually have a genuine conversation with people. And if you want to be a part of the show, again, the form is down below in the description. Again, leave comments. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys next time. See you later.